You know, we've got it things down where it's not videotaped anymore in generally. There's a video on Facebook that my mom
sit back here. I have I'm going to
none of us take the ball.
I'll forward it to you.
crabs in my garage. We were gonna go and see them. But that crab seed took hold. I had losing about 50. But I was probably 500 ahead. But it's all amongst friends, you know. So everyone wins. It stays there anyway. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
Everybody bolted for the comfortable chairs? Come on. I guess I will too. I want to sit in the front. I'm going to sit in the comfort chair.
Yeah, it's too far.
Perfect. It's like nobody sits in the front of the chair.
Right.
I'm going to sit behind Dustin and keep him in
Minutes? I'll look.
Why do we do it?
All right, we're gonna call this meeting to order, 7 p.m. On the April the 28th. And if we could start with the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Elmont. Arcadia. Attica. Burlington.
1.
Burnside. Deerfield. Dryden.
2.
Elba.
1.
Goodland.
2.
Hadley. Imlay.
1.
Lapeer.
1.
Marathon.
1.
Mayfield. Metamora.
Wow, 1.
Spot the average.
North Branch.
Blue's talking.
North Branch.
1.
Oregon. Rich.
1.
MTA representative. County sheriff. Prosecutor. County commissioner. County official.
1.
Road commissioner.
1.
State rep. Senate. Congress. Yes?
Lapeer Township now has 2. All right, Mike, could you introduce your board and tell us a little bit about Goodland Township if you choose?
Well, Goodland Township has pizza for everybody. We need to finish it up. Brownies, we have brownies for you. Help yourself. Goodland Township, we're a small agricultural community. We have a one-room schoolhouse, we have our own library, and we have our treasurer here, Louis Parsh. Stand up, Louis. Give a speech. Speech. Come on. Speech, please. So thank you everybody for coming out, and don't make yourself come out anytime you want. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
How about public time? Anything at public time? Hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
There's support? Okay. Motion and support. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The minutes from the February 17th regular meeting at Elba Township.
I got one correction. Goodland had 2 instead of 1.
Okay.
Can you prove that?
Well, I made a motion. Mike was there also, but.
Yeah.
Entertain a motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
Support. Motion and support. Any further discussion? Who support? Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report.
I'm sorry, I was supposed to bring it and I left it on my desk, so I apologize.
Well, Way to fall on the sword.
I know. It's not gonna be happy with me.
So you just wanna hold off until the next meeting?
Sure, if I don't have it.
Yep. You don't have anything to prove, so. All right, moving on, there's no old business, and we are gonna move to the new business, which is the election of officers. And as of December, at the February meeting, it was the road commission's annual meeting, and we moved to move elections till the April meeting. And the people that have expired off of this board is myself and Patty Lashbrook. I appreciate being your chairman for the past year, but I'm out of here. I still think that the MTA is very important. I will be here at these meetings, and I would love nothing more than to see the attendance at these meetings still increase. And the way to get the meeting attendance at these meetings increased, we need to update the email list for these meetings. We have a lot of people that are no longer in office getting agendas. The new people in office are not getting agendas. We need to update that email list. Yeah.
Have you thought about having a separate email for just this organization, and that way the board members could have access to it, and every time, the only people that are on there that are invited to this, so it doesn't get messed up, and then you could go through it after an election and take off the people and add people easier.
Hey, you're asking me something I don't know anything about, so fire away at these guys, but.
I'd have to get a way to get the new people's email, I don't know.
You're in the county book?
Not all of them, some of them.
Well, I know a lot of people say they don't get the notices, so.
But we've got to reach out much further than township elected officials. I mean, the county, sheriff's department, the road commission, the county commissioners, I mean, everybody needs to be invited to these meetings. And I think if the agendas fell in the right people's hands, we would get more attendance, so.
We use a Remind app, which once we put in the phone numbers, the cell phones or whatever, we send out for every month all of our agenda. I don't know if that would help, we can show you how we do it. It seems to be very effective. We usually have 30, 40 people here at every board meeting.
Okay, well, a lot of great ideas, and we can take them into consideration. But we need to have the election of officers, and I will open the floor for nominations, and I will start the nominations by offering Patty Lashbrook for another term in office on the MTA board. Is there anybody else?
So you're making a motion to put Patty Lashbrook through to 2028, correct?
Yeah, one more term. And then tell you what we're doing also, because this year is almost halfway through already. And this way it won't upset any of the offset terms. We're gonna add 1 year to every term. Just so that it's gonna give Mike more than a half a year as chair. So
That was kind of presumptuous.
I mean, well, I jumped a little bit there, didn't I? But,
Then choose to then, I would say not do this, and just make a motion to,
no, because I'm not re-upping myself.
okay, but you could do everybody else. And just do one motion,
Patty's still gotta be elected.
not if you add 1 year to her term.
You can't add 1 year to her without adding 1 year to me, so let's put her up for election. I would second a motion, of the nomination of Patty Lashbrook.
I'll second.
Second,
So are you putting her for 1 year, or are you putting her for another term?
I'm putting her for a term, a normal term.
Okay.
I would like to, also, we have 2 seats available. I would nominate Robbie Howland for a term as a trustee also for the, Rob Howland as a term for the, a trustee for the MTA. Let's vote on both of them together. Is there any other nominations from the floor?
Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Tina?
I'm sorry, did we get we got support from
Tina,
Tina.
I'm just asking if she's okay to put both of them together.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is there any other nominations?
So just as a clarification, Patty's term and Rob's term would end when?
2028 would be the next.
A normal term.
Okay,
Normal
just
term.
clarifying so that I can write this down.
And Rob is gonna be, what did you say?
A normal term. Just
What position?
a trustee.
Trustee. Okay, we only have one trustee position open.
Well, they're doing 2 years, 25 and 26, right?
I know, but it's still, we would, so she was
Only you and-
nominated
only
as a
you and-
trustee, and then we have as trustees Dennis and Lisa. Their terms are not up yet. By adding Rob as another
So
trustee.
only Patty Lashbrook.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Amongst the confusion, we're gonna do these one at a time. And I would like to vote on Patty Lashbrook as a board member,
Okay,
As a trustee.
as a trustee.
as a trustee.
Perfect.
All in favor of Patty as a trustee for the MTA board, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. And at this point, is that just the board voting, or is that the whole thing?
No, I'm just trying to clarify your mess up here.
Well, we're going to do that before we do Rob.
I'm gonna make a motion to appoint Mike Bosky as the chairman,
I'm still here.
starting May 1st. Is that good?
Yes.
Can you do that? Can you elect a new board?
He stepped down.
I know, but as a chair, vice chair, you guys can do that, but not while he's on there. Can you?
He stepped down
And I'm not,
at the end
I'm
of the
just
day, so
questioning
yes.
to make sure it's all
You're,
right.
you're thinking of the township officials.
I'm thinking of
That person who is-
you're redoing the board seats as chair, vice chair, and all of that. Can you do that with him still being on? Shouldn't that be done after the new board's in?
We don't have an organization meeting of the board.
That was, okay,
We do not have an organization meeting of the board. That will be done at this meeting.
okay.
If not, you're coming right in as chairman. So what do you want to do?
I'll have to rethink it. You carry on, Scott.
So my motion is to appoint Mike Bosky as chair as of 5/1/2026.
Is there support? Motion and support. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I would like to then put as of 5/1/26, Patty Lashbrook as the vice chair.
No, you just appointed her as a trustee.
Trustee.
I just now I am asking for nominations to make Patty Lashbrook the vice chair of the MTA as of May 1st.
Second.
Do you need a motion or do you need a?
I need them both.
I'll
Motion
make
and
the
support.
motion.
Support. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Now we got room for Rob to be a trustee. Is there any other nominations from the floor to be a trustee of the MTA? Hearing none, I'd cast a unanimous ballot for Rob Holland. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now let the minutes reflect, I would like 1 year added to every person on the MTA's board's term.
That's left, because we've already clarified.
The next election, 28.
As of 5/1, the board that exists.
As of 5/1, whatever board members exist, there will be 1 year added to their term.
If nothing else, we have a big, wait, whatever.
So that would put the chair at 29.
Well, but yeah, but you actually have elections to replace him if he's not doing the job.
Some is gonna be 28, some is gonna be 27.
They're staying.
Yeah, they're staggered, so that everybody has a term off. So. Well, do you feel that I need to add a year to the terms, or are we good just the way we are?
I'm still trying to figure out what happens.
I think we're good.
Like it expires in 26. That's why I was
So
adding
do
a
I.
year. Enough of the cipher up here. I'd entertain a motion to add 1 year to every board member's term starting May 1st of 2026. We got a motion, is there support? Support. Motion and support. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And under the new business, we have dues. That came up in discussion. You know, maybe to get more involvement with the MTA, we need the townships to give us ideas on who they would like for speakers at the MTA. Sometimes these speakers come with a charge. They want to be paid to come speak. They could be coming from quite a distance. So we thought maybe there should be some dues. We haven't took, when's the last time we paid dues to the MTA? It's been a long time. And we've
It's
discussed.
actually in the bylaws that we're supposed to pay dues every year.
And it hasn't been done.
It hasn't been done.
I did speak at the conference to, I don't know if all of you know Cindy Dodge, she is phenomenal as a speaker. And she said she would be more than willing to come and speak on, she's a jack of all trades, she can talk on anything. So I did not ask her what her, I got her going out, so she was kind of in a hurry to get to her card. I got a business card, so we'll have to look into how much her fees are, but that's where the dues came.
So with the bylaws of the MTA chapter in Lapeer County, does the board set the dues or the dues in the bylaws?
Louis is right. It's written in our bylaws and it's based on your population and so forth. And when last time we did this, everybody stopped their economy and so forth, and everybody like, well, we don't want to pay that. So we just set a dollar amount, and it was a nominal amount, like $100 or something like that. But if you go back to, earlier in my days as a supervisor, we sent a representative from the Lapeer chapter of the MTA to Washington to the national MTA Township Association conference. We went to Lansing as the Lapeer County chapter, and in fact, the last year that I went, we had higher participation than any other county in Michigan in that, to beat Oakland County and so forth. Of course, we had banquets, we had, all those sort of things, and now we're to the point of, we can't even get our local officials to attend the local meeting. And quite honestly, we all attend meetings, I'm a professional meeting attender, and who wants to leave home for another meeting if it's to talk to the same people that talk to all week? No, I'm gonna pick on Andy. Andy's a great guy. Really is. I mean that. I mean
Wait
that.
for what's coming next.
I mean that with all sincerity. I mean, as drain commissioner, we coordinate and talk all the time, correct? But, you know, if you were the featured speaker, again, no offense to you, and I'm, you know, another township, and I have this communication, we're already up to speed with everything that's going on. Do I really need to, you know, listen to you, or do I need to get the hay in? You know, okay, well, the sunshine, versus somebody like a Cindy Dodge that comes and she teaches the MTA classes on cemeteries and board review, and, you know, she's a wealth of knowledge that you're actually getting something for. It's, you know, worth putting up, you know, doing the hay that night. And but we just don't have the participation. If we had the money, for example, would we expend that, you know, to have her talk to 10 people? And I've been keeping track of this. We had a MTA meeting where we had 11 people, 11 supervisors at the supervisors meeting. It ended, we went to the MTA and we had 13. We had the supervisors that were there and then 2 other officials, and they happened to be board members. That's not saying a whole lot for us.
When it comes to the attendance part of it, I got my board's emails on our MTA email list, and Phil Thick's name is on there now. That's why Phil's here. I didn't tell him to be here. He's here because he got the agenda. I told him to be at that one.
Because I've seen him there.
I told them we were having free beer.
So the important thing is getting that email thing updated. And what are we gonna do with dues? Is it a set amount? Are we gonna go back to the per capita of the township?
Well, I think that Louis is right. We need to have, at our next meeting, have copies of the bylaws for everybody, and we need to make a decision. And quite frankly, I can look out here, and it's the same people that attend these meetings. You guys are the ones that are actually doing a good job and showing up. You need to go back to your boards then and, you know, say, hey, you want to ride with me to the MTA meeting next month or whatever? Encourage your own board members, your own partners in crime in your township to attend, so you're not the only one. And maybe it's, you know, some things like attendance award. You know, at the end of the year, the township that had the most of their township officials, their dues are waived for the next year. You know, something, but there's strength in numbers. And
I think I would like to see people, as a 5-1, makes me the chairman, I'd like to see people send an email to you, could we talk about this, could we talk about that? And then maybe those issues are gonna bring in the townships that maybe don't normally come.
I would do that. I would reach out, you know, the things, and I want every township, you know, give me 3 topics that you want to hear speakers on, so I can plan in advance. It's not the month of, can we get somebody to speak, but I know that, you know, in the August meeting, this is going to be our speaker. So again, try to, and it's going to be something that you guys want to, maybe it'll be on ADA website compliance.
What's the hot topic?
Yeah, I mean, whatever the thing is.
You don't gotta tell them your plan. You're already gonna be the chairman. You're not really pushing me out.
Pushing me out.
A platform that the MTA has, you know, approved for the year, and pick a platform for each meeting too.
Well, you also have to have somebody who's gonna be available the night we need them to be, so you have to have time
Right.
to speak to the speaker and say, are you available on August, whatever the date is.
I get my guys about 4 or 5 days before the meeting.
That's my point.
Tina knows this as chair of the supervisors. I mean, you're scrambling to get speakers and so forth, and I know you've called me and it might be any ideas for speakers. I mean, it should be a collaborative. You guys tell who you want, not one person. Otherwise, Teresa's going to be our speaker all next year.
She did a good job.
Excellent job.
All right, so next,
We're gonna talk about dues.
at the next meeting with the bylaws, everybody's gonna have bylaws in front of them.
Okay.
And actually try to get them to all the townships prior to.
Yep.
So they have some time to peruse. think through, I think basically majority of the township's budgetary process is coming up. I mean, normally, most of the townships run June to July, so, you know, budgeting for any sort of dues or whatever, now is timely then for your own township boards as well.
All right. Let's move on to the program. I've got two speakers tonight. They've both been gracious enough to come and introduce themselves and update us in their departments and answer any questions that you may have for them. And the first speaker I'd like to introduce is Jim Henry from the Lapeer County Health Department.
Thanks, sir. Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Jim Henry. I'm with the Lapeer County Health Department. I'm the director of the Lapeer County Health Department. I've only been here for about a year. I've met some of you I haven't, but I have a lot of familiar faces. Appreciate the opportunity to give a real quick update. Scott called and said, hey, can you just say a few words at the meeting? So, you know, I did a survey recently of the community, Lapeer County, and you know what we do at the health department? What everybody thinks we do at the health department. Two things. We inspect restaurants and we give shots. But if we go a little bit more, you know, for a lot of the rural communities, we issue the well permits and we make sure the water's safe, at least the water coming out of the well into the house. Septic systems, we permit the septic systems. So our team comes out and does the perk test, and then they'll, based on the soil, everybody there's a lot of, people don't understand why these mounds are out there. The idea is to get some separation to the water table. But you may have heard that there's some proposed bills for a statewide septic code. Everybody familiar with that? Yeah. So the issue with that, there's a couple issues, and I have a pretty big issue, because now they want separation to that seasonal high water table. Instead of 18 inches like our local code says, they're talking like up to 4 feet. So the bottom of the stone of that drain field is going to be 3 to 4 feet above where there's potential water table. So that's going to be a really expensive septic system. And so that statewide code, there are some problems with it. And the state code, it's not necessarily based on science. It's not all based on public health. I know there's obviously some politics involved there. But the other thing that there's a problem with that statewide proposal is that there's going to be inspections. So required inspections. It could be, right now that's all being discussed, it could be once every 5 years, once every 7 years, it's all changed. That's why I should go back and forth since he's proposing this. The problem with that, there's not very many times when you have to let someone onto your property to do an inspection. Unless you are building something or you kind of initiated something. In this situation, it's going to be somebody knocking on the door, and it's probably going to be from the health department, and then we say, hi, I'm here to inspect your drain field, and by the way, I need to charge you $300 for that, or whatever the fee may be. They go and do the inspection. First of all, I don't know how well that's going to work, especially in Lapeer County. I think there's going to be some problems with that. And yeah. And so then they do the inspection, but they're talking about at the state level having certified inspectors. So not so much health department staff, because if there's 20,000 septic systems in the county, roughly, I'm going to need 10 more people to do these inspections. And then the enforcement, it's not viable, because we just don't have the funding to be able to do it. And honestly, I don't think it's right to be able to walk into someone's property and say, here, I'm here to inspect your drain field. There's a fee associated with it. If there's something wrong, now you're going to replace it. And not only replace it the way it was, you're going to stick that thing out of the ground 4 feet. Pumps, sand, a lot of materials. So there's some inherent problems with this bill.
How's that gonna work? We got farms out here that don't even have a septic field. How's that gonna work for them? Could they be grandfathered? I mean, they can't bring them up to code.
Sure you can.
That's what the bill's gonna say. They're gonna address that if it's tied into a field tile. They're gonna say,
okay, now it's time, you probably have a tank, but the tank is probably old, so now you need a new septic tank, probably a pump, and the drain field's gonna be sticking out of the ground. And that's a big problem. So especially when it's gonna be pushed on the local health department to enforce that state law. So Michigan is the only state in the country that doesn't have a statewide septic code. We're the only state. But none of the other states have this inspection program. So there's some, but not like this. So there's some big problems with someone coming to your home, knocking on your door, saying, I'm here from the government to help you. Come on in.
Help you spend your money.
Help you spend your money. And the drain fields just got 5 times as expensive as they used to be because of this mounting system.
Blow them out the door.
See? I can't send my people because I know what's going to happen. They're not coming.
Wow, that's more intelligent than that.
And I don't blame anybody for saying we're not going to let you on the property. So we'll see how all that works out. Yeah, we'll see.
So how does that work out? If enough people oppose it, who sets these rules and can they be overturned if they're set?
It's a statewide bill.
Would it be, it's just voted on in Lansing, it's not
Yes.
voted on by everybody, just in Lansing?
Just in Lansing.
So what would give, if you have to hire the inspectors to do that, what gives you the right to come on my property if I don't allow it?
That state law that is currently a bill. And that's a problem. It's
Well,
gonna be a problem, right?
that opens the door to a whole lot worse stuff than a septic field inspection.
It does. And there's not too many times when you have to let someone on your property. Unless you initiate if you're building something, you know, inspection of some sort. But if you're not, you don't have to let people on your property. And this law is saying you have to let this inspection occur on your property. And the idea behind it is that the state says that we need to protect our waterways, which I agree with, but there's bigger problems than drain fields that might be a little bit too low or too close to the water table, especially when you have these municipal wastewater plants, wastewater treatment plants. And when we have all this heavy rain, they open those valves and it goes right into the drain. And we're talking millions of gallons, not a household with 300 gallons a day. We're talking millions of gallons, especially depending on the size of the city. This happens everywhere. All that storm water that is collected that goes into those storm drains that also are tied into some of the sewer systems, and it just floods the whole system.
So you're saying that the drain field would have to be raised 4 feet? Or it would be
In
4
some
feet
instances.
down from level ground?
Yeah. Yeah, so if the water table, so we look at conditions. So the seasonal high water table is identified through mottling. So if the soil is discolored, it's orange and gray, we know water sat there for some period of time. And so that is the indicator of the seasonal high water table, because that's where the water sits usually in the spring. And then it could be a foot below grade, it could be 4 foot below grade, it could be way deep. But wherever that is, the state code is going to be much more restrictive than our local code. And those things still have to be determined, but Eagle has already said that they want to see 4 foot of separation between, right now ours is 18 inches, our local code. So when we find that modeling or water table, we say you got to be 18 inches above that with the bottom of your stone, because it takes that amount of soil to treat the sewage. There's microorganisms in the soil that'll treat that sewage and basically make it safe when it gets to the water table. Because once the sewage gets in the water table, treatment's done. There's no more microorganisms to treat the sewage. So we say 18 inches. The science supported that. I've been doing this for 30 plus years. The science has always been 18 inches. Now that's changed to 3 feet, and probably even more than that, depending on who gets to make the decisions on some of these standards.
But then your septic tank would have to be higher than that to get the flow, right?
Yeah, that's one thing. If it's new construction, you hold your house up high. You be on a hill,
Yeah.
but it's a pump. So they,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you put in a chamber, like another tank, and then a pump inside that,
Yeah.
and then you pump out to the field. It's smaller diameter pipe to the drain. Yeah, there's some challenges there, but we do other things too, like campgrounds. We inspect the campgrounds, public swimming pools, restaurants, of course. We do plan reviews. Our staff are inspecting the tattoo facilities, making sure that they're sanitary. One thing that's interesting that happened recently, we had a positive bat for rabies. And so when somebody gets bit by a bat, we want people to call the health department because we want that bat. And then we're going to send that to Lansing, and they're going to do a test to see if it has rabies. Recently, last week, we had one of those cases, and the bat was positive for rabies. The person got bit. This is a bad situation. So they got up in the morning, they get dressed, they put their sweater on, and there's a bat inside the sweater. And it bit this person. And then, of course, the clothes was probably coming off much faster than they went on. But then they got the bat, was sent to Lansing, and it was positive for rabies. So now this person is doing post-exposure treatment because of rabies.
Along with the spouse.
Along with the spouse, because it can be with the spouse, and because usually if there's an exposure, if you don't know, if you were sleeping and there's a bat in the room and you don't know that potentially could have been bit, then that's considered an exposure. So we recommend that the spouse is treated too.
Would a divorce take care of the treatment?
It might. It might.
You could end up with both.
Yeah.
I know the people involved and even their dog are taking rabies shots.
Yeah. Interesting. So, with all the HIPAA rules and stuff, I can say stuff like that, but I can't say anybody's names. I don't want to say anybody's names. But
Facebook, you don't need to.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But some of the other things, well, there's an emergence. We see increasing cases of Lyme disease every year. And Lyme disease is really nothing to mess with. It's caused by the deer tick or the black-legged tick. So, but what's a good way to prevent Lyme disease is you find the tick on you within 24 hours. If you have a big engorged tick stuck to your leg or something like that, it's been there for more than 24 hours. Okay, now it can transmit the bacteria that causes Lyme disease. And so Lyme disease is a bacteria. Most of these vector or insect type diseases like mosquitoes, they're viruses. But in the case of Lyme disease, it's a bacteria. And it can affect your joints and your nervous system, and it can really cause some damage. So trying to identify the tick we can help with that. So if someone or someone comes to the township or calls or something and says, hey, I found a tick on my kid or on them, or even their dog, we can help identify what kind of tick it is and if there's a risk of Lyme disease. But that's we used to see about, and I've only been here for a little more than a year, but we used to see 4 cases of Lyme disease a year. Now it's 20. In the past 4 years, this is all grown, and so all of these positive ticks they're just migrating this way. So there's a lot, and you may have seen more ticks than you had in the past, especially on your pets. I took my dog for a walk not long ago, and I got back, and they had 4 ticks on them. And so the ticks on the dog are not such a bad thing. I mean, dogs can get Lyme disease, but now they're in the house if your dog comes in the house, and they'll fall off, and then they'll find you, and then you'll wake up and there'll be a tick on it. But if you don't see it, like sometimes there was a person that had Lyme disease because the tick was between the toes, and they never saw it. And so, there's some telltale signs. There's like a bullseye rash that usually happens with Lyme disease in the area where the tick was. But sometimes you don't see it, and there people will occasionally the tick will basically drink your blood, and then it'll fall off. and then you might see this little wound, and if there's a bullseye rash, it looks just like a bullseye, then that's concerning. Yes, sir.
Is there different treatments depending on what kind of tick it is, or is it just
Yeah.
universal?
No, well, it's only with the deer tick or black-legged tick. They're the same tick.
Those are the only ones that.
They carry Lyme. Yep.
Oh,
Yep. So we can help identify the tick. And if you have a tick and you want to say, hey, call the health department, we can help with that. But yeah, the treatment is antibiotics. As long as you get it soon enough, antibiotics will treat the bacteria.
within how long? The earlier the better.
Yeah, you want it as soon as possible because if you start noticing symptoms or it's affecting your joints, it's not good.
Is there anything you can do to get it out there to doctors to test for Lyme disease a lot faster than we do? My girlfriend had Lyme disease. It took the doctor 2 years and she had to ask for the test. He wouldn't test her.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, as the health department, can you get it
Yeah,
out
well-
to doctors in the area? We're seeing more of this, pay attention, test for Lyme disease and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, we do send a lot of communication, education outreach to the local doctor's offices and the clinics and the urgent cares and all those facilities, especially with, we're seeing measles in some of the other communities, but with Lyme disease, yeah, that's one thing that we send out.
We even heard from her doctor, which I said he was a quack way before this, that Michigan doesn't have Lyme disease. Why would you want to be tested for that?
That is absolutely false. It has been false for a long time.
That's what we've heard from medical professionals, though.
Yeah.
In the area, which is why I'm asking if there's something you can do to, besides beating them over the head with a stick, which I was real close to.
Yeah, no, we can send out more information, and that's a good point. I mean, hopefully people in those type of businesses, hopefully they'll listen to, at least take some recommendations from the health department. And that's kind of that is what our job is to educate and share information with the communities. So our website, you can just go to Lapeer County Health Department, type into any search engine, and it'll come up. And it'll have a lot of different information, fact sheets. Of course, we're all doing an ADA compliant thing. And a lot of our fact sheets are pictures that the way thing doesn't read. So we got a lot of work to do. I'm just glad it was extended because I don't know how well we would have done. But we're getting there. But that's not like we do investigate most communicable diseases. So any disease like measles, and so it's kind of hitting close to home. Macomb County has some cases. Washington County has some cases, and we had a close contact, someone who was in Macomb County that knows someone that actually is one of the cases. So, and then because there's a very intense investigation where we're like, okay, who have you been close to? And measles is one thing. Most people recover fine, but especially with children. Very high fever. There's a telltale rash on their face, white bumps in the mouth, but very high fever, cough, those type of symptoms. But then it can evolve into encephalitis, which is swelling of the brain. And when that starts to happen, then we got some complications. So that's the big scare with measles. It's not so much, that everyone is going to get this nasty disease. It's these vulnerable population folks that may have severe symptoms. So we're trying to protect everybody, but really focusing on some folks that might be more susceptible to these things. Yeah.
When it comes to questions from the residents that I take at the office, they call me up and say, where am I living my septic tank? I got the guy coming to pump it today. And I say, I don't know, call the health department. Is there anything more than what's on that permit? Is there any more information than what's on that permit that you can give them to help them Cause I send them all to you, can you help them find their lid to their septic tank?
We can. Unfortunately, it's a record request, so most of the time it's not immediate. It should be. So one of the things that we're working on right now is this software. It's consistent with the county. It's called Fetch. If you go on the county treasurer website, it's a parcel viewer. So you can click on, it's an interactive map. You can click on a property and it'll basically tell you who owns the property. And you can see the area. One of the things that we're doing at the health department, we have the same software now. It was approved by our board of commissioners, so we're working through this. We're getting rid of this old software, and all of our records are going to be on that map. So if there is a record, if we have a file that shows where the septic system is and the well, there's not a whole lot of things that the health department's going to have on there unless there's been complaints or something like that. But and if there is a site plan for the septic system, at least residents won't have to wait. They can go on that website because we're going to have every record on there. The health department, all of our records are public, except for the personal health information. All they have is protected stuff. But so all of those records are going to be on that Fetch parcel viewer, but it's going to be with the health department. But it's the same thing. It's going to be the same app. And you click on the property, and then there's going to be the attachments. And it's going to show that where the septic system is, where the well is, as long as there's record for it. Record keeping wasn't the best not that long ago. So there's some limitations. But for the most part, that's going to be huge because everybody can have their records whenever they want them. They don't have to ask the health department front desk to say, hey, can I tell me where my septic tank is? So that's in the works.
Is it gonna say like a well that's 200 feet or 50 feet? Is that gonna be on there?
It already is.
Oh.
One of the things with wells in the state of Michigan, there's it's called Ride Mapper. And every well that's drilled, and it's been this way for a while, it has to have the coordinates. Yeah. And sometimes they're not exact, but they're close. And so you can click on that, and it's a website. It's on Eagle's website. If you type in Rider, I think it's Rider. It would be Ride Mapper. It used to be called Environmental Mapper. And then there's a overlay on the state of Michigan. You can zoom right into Lapeer County, right into your address. You can type your address into the search box, and it'll take you to your property. And if your well should be a little dot on there. You can click that dot. It'll tell you basically your well log. It'll tell you how deep your well is, or your well is.
Any other questions for Jim? I appreciate you speaking. It's not too hard to give 5 or 10 minutes, is it?
No, once you keep going, I mean, I was wondering what I was going to talk about.
What do you call that site again?
Rider map. I'll find it right now. So thank you, everyone. Is there any questions?
I just want to make a comment. So you said there's 20,000 septic fields in Lapeer?
That's
Give or take?
yeah, I'm thinking closer to probably 15.
So, well, we'll go with 20 because that's easy numbers.
Okay.
At $300, that's $6 million a year. If somebody can inspect one septic field, 10 of them a day, that's $2,500 in a year. How many people is it going to do to take 20,000? And that's just in Lapeer alone. That's crazy.
The state doesn't care how much it costs.
No, it won't be every year.
You'll have to hire 500 people?
Yeah, it won't be every year, but like if the frequency is once every 5 years or 7 years to do that inspection of that property.
Exactly.
Especially, you know, I keep going through this scenario, like the little old lady on a fixed income that can't afford a new drain field, much less, and not only that, to do the inspection, you gotta get your tank pumped, right? Because how do you know what that tank is? So there's so many problems with this. So getting the tank pumped, what does it cost? A couple, $300. And then,
Easy, 360.
Yep, exactly, yep. So there's a lot of problems, but I just don't really see how it's gonna work. And so in that sense, and it's gonna be pushed back on the local health department to regulate it. But I'm not too concerned about it because I don't see how it can happen at this point. Not the way it's written now. So I'm thinking, I don't know, I just don't know how it's gonna happen.
So is there a potential for there to be a correlation between the septic and eventually how deep the well is?
Well, the septic system has to be at least 50 feet away from the well, like the vertical distance.
Right,
Or
but I
the-
mean, like going forward, is that kind of where that's gonna start to go, that the septic's first and then potentially the well? Depth, because some of them aren't deep.
No, if they're in an area of contamination, so that same map, and I'll find it, and I'll make sure you guys know. That same map has, environmental impacted sites, they're known. So if there's a known site, there's a lot of old abandoned landfills or things that people don't even know are out there. Or people are dumping stuff in, but, I know. But if they're known, then the map, there's a map on that same website that will show that and what it was. And if it's closed, if it's open, if it's an underground storage tank, if it's an old gas station, then when we issued the well permit, every well permit, each one of the sanitarians at the health department looks at that map to make sure that there's no sites of contamination. And then if there is, either the well, there could be some restrictions saying the well has to get built to a depth of 100 feet, or there has to be clay protection, like minimum of 10 feet of clay before they can terminate that well. So whatever's on the surface doesn't penetrate through that clay. But yeah, but no, I don't think it's not gonna happen with wells like it is septic system. But if somebody shows up and says, well, your well is 25 feet away from your septic, now, what do you pick? I'm gonna move my well or my septic system? Because it's supposed to be big. That's not gonna happen. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Dustin from the Road Commission. The roads have been wet. I get a lot of calls every day. Why isn't my road graded yet? And a lot of potholes in the roads, and I'm sure you guys are out patching. How about some updates on what's going on?
Absolutely. Scott was nice enough to give me about a month and a half notice to come tonight. And he also told me to talk for maybe 1 to 2 hours. So he gave me a lot. He did a good heads up. The graders are out and about. They're authorized to work overtime. We expect them to be out all week. They put the forecast out. You look at the forecast, it's about 40% chance of rain tomorrow morning. That's supposed to be dry for 7 days, and then only another 40% chance of rain. We'll see. It seems like whenever we're making a good hard push to get out there to grade these roads, to get them to clean up, we've been getting bombarded with the rain. So then they turn right back to slop, especially if we just grade that road and then the rain comes the next day, they turn right back to slop. Unfortunately, last week we did experience some really dusty roads after we graded them. The sun came out, the wind picked up, and they did get dusty and that. Lo and behold, we started getting dust complaints already. I don't see that happening so much this week with the cold temperatures and that. Nate, our director of maintenance, he's already talked to the foreman. We're going to get the trucks out, the graders out, and get over as many roads as we can, through Friday. Then we'll evaluate to see where we're at come Saturday. But it's supposed to be good next week, so we plan on doing a good heavy push. The other complaint, potholes, you mentioned potholes, Scott. We've been running 1 to 2 pothole patching crews out of each garage. Pretty much every day when we can't get out and grade, we've been patching potholes. Last weekend when we got all that rain, the potholes just appeared out of nowhere again. A lot of them just re-popped right back out, and that's the sad part. You put cold patch in a hole that's got water in it, they really don't, the cold patches don't stay in there, but we have to do something to try to patch the hole back up. It's a lot of potholes in the paved roads this year. A little bit update on the paving program. We're going to start replacing the cross tubes on the roads that we're going to be paving, putting a schedule together with the paving contractors and that. We're pushing probably late June, mid-July before we get the contractor and start paving. If any township has a local road you're interested in a price on, We did reach out to the contractor. They will honor the annual bid price for, mainline paving of, local township roads, or not local township roads, local roads and primary roads if we do decide to, add some paving projects in that. Crack seal, we're putting a bid out to do crack sealing on the road. There's a lot of townships that did, paving projects, within the last, last 10 years that haven't been crack sealed yet. We'll cover that cost at no cost to the townships. Even if there's 1 or 2 cracks, we're gonna crack seal them now, come back and keep them, crack sealed and that. Road funding, I did go over to Lansing and, talk to, State Representative Jamie Green's office, for some funding on Mowers Road. I want to thank the townships for their support on trying to get funding for, Mowers Road, Arcadia Township, Goodland Township, Imlay Township. Lapeer, guys, thank you for the fast turnaround on those, letters of support, greatly appreciated. We also reached out to Lisa McLean's office for, Marathon Road, Brown City Road. And we also reached out to, Senator Peters' office too for, funding on the road. So we are reaching out, for funding. Hopefully we can get some of those congressional, earmark, projects. Drain office, I want to give a shout out to Andy Wagner. He's here tonight. He's been in contact with the road commission. These rain events, our culverts are failing. We currently have Graham Road closed, waiting on Eagle for a size, to put back in there for a culvert. But Andy, he has been great communicating with the road commission saying, hey, went out to check this drain, and by the way, there's 2 piers starting to fail on that. Likewise, we've been saying, hey, Andy, this drain here is, backed up with water. So, we've been working really well with the, Lapeer County, drain office. I mean, I think the communication has been great. Townships have been reaching out to us too, saying, hey, can you come look at this drainage issue and that? So, our district foremen have been super busy, with, the townships and that. If you guys have drainage concerns, please contact us. We'll go out and look at them. It's easier to, see it when the water is there, to know the extent of the ditching project and what we need to do to, remedy the issue in that.
At what point, at the Flint River, just west of Wilder Road on Newark, the beavers have that water right up, getting close to the ditches of the road. At what point, I can't get the homeowner to do anything about this beaver. At what point is somebody gonna be able to do something about the beavers?
Contact us at the road commission. We have a, remedy for, beaver blockage. And, so, just contact us. Speaking of Lapeer Township, and I do want to say Lapeer Township did receive, I believe in touch at the MTA, the previous MTA meeting, they did receive a bridge through the critical bridge funding. That pre-construction meeting will be coming up soon, but it'll be the Morris Road bridge in between Peppermill and Peppermill that we will be replacing, I believe, in after July 4th. We've got the pre-construction meeting coming up, so that's part of the South Branch of the Flint River, so we will look into that. We're also getting the mowers ready. You may think it's early, but now grass is growing green in a hurry. We've been trying to pull the berm on the road. We've been getting a lot of complaints about that, but it's one of those things that we have to get done. We started on the state highways. MDOT called us up and says, hey, can you try to pull when it's not gonna rain? It's like, you gotta get them pulled, kind of let them dry out a little bit and then beat them back down. So if you see us out pulling berm, we're pulling trying to reclaim the gravel and that, get the berm off the road so the water can run off. It's gonna look ugly for a few days and that, but then we come back and we regrade the road and we beat the sod back out of the gravel and lay it back down. So we'd like to get over these gravel roads at least twice before we start doing township grinding and that kind of stuff. We want to get those potholes filled in, get them recompacted and that. So we're great for grinding. We're not trying to fill massive potholes in the road. So that's the goal there. Township portal map. If anybody hasn't been to their township portal page, please check that out. We are trying to keep the grading updated on the township's level. So at the end of the day, the grader operators, they put the roads in that they graded within the township, so the townships can see what's been graded within their townships and that. So if you haven't checked out that feature on the township portal page, the road commission, check it out, but they've been, trying to keep that updated, pretty much every day. So, with that being said, I will open it up to any township that has
Any questions for Dustin?
Yes, sir.
I get a lot of calls from people, and I tell them to call the road commission and complain, and they say they call 5 or 6 times and never get a feedback, or nobody ever calls them back. Do you have a procedure for that?
We can look into that if you can get a hold of that resident and that, have them, have them get in contact with you and then try calling. I mean, I'll reach out to that resident and see what their issue is.
Can I give them your phone number?
Like I say, we're there to serve the public, and if there's an issue with them being a hold of us, we need to know about that, and I encourage anybody from the township, if you guys have an issue, just give me a call. Most of you people have my cell phone number, because, I mean, I've met with quite a few townships, and the remark is, that I hear is, hey, the road commission tells them to call the township. I am really trying to make sure that doesn't continue to happen. So if it is still continuing to happen, please let me know, because I've been doing my best to try to say, hey, why are we sending this person to call the township? If it's a road commission thing, we should be able to come up with the answer to provide to that resident. Just because it's a subdivision road doesn't mean that we can't answer the basic questions from that before you send the resident back to the township. So if you're still getting residents that say that, hey, we were told just call the township for the answer, get a hold of me so I can address it. I can't address it if I don't know that it's still happening. So feel free to get a hold of me if you get those.
We have elected reps,
residents
they
that
should
are-
be calling their road commission rep.
What's that?
We have elected road commission reps, you should be calling the reps, right?
But no, if, like I say, I mean, try to get the residents back to the road commission, and I'll speak with them, so.
So we've had problems with residents not being able to get a hold of anybody during office hours. Actually, I tried to get a hold of somebody today and had to get a hold of, luckily, our foreman directly for a tree off the road. So, elderly residents don't like to get online to file a complaint. I've had to do it for some. But getting a hold of somebody during office hours has been a problem, and a complaint that Deerfield's received a lot of.
Okay, that is, something that we can, that I will, look into. I do know we did change the phone systems around and say, hey, if you wanna talk to this person, push this directory and that directory. So I'll go through the telephone prompts and see where those phone calls may be going, and finding out why they're not getting a call back from that supervisor or that individual. So that's something that we can, look into.
Yeah, I do notice that's mainly on Fridays.
Well, okay, so Fridays, great thing, Fridays. The road commission is on summer hours right now, so thank you for bringing that up. So our hours right now at the road commission are Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then in the winter, we go back to 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. However, thanks for bringing that point up. I do believe there's a concern, as Deerfield brought up, there could be, I still think that's a valid concern that I'm gonna look into, but yes, our road commission hours are summer operating hours now.
I usually tell them, don't call you on Friday, I'll take the complaint. So.
All right, ditching and culvert replacement, any updates on ditching?
Some of the crews have already went out and started ditching in that. The other thing was, I made sure the director of maintenance and myself, we reiterated it that, if we have a road closed over a simple 18-inch cross tube, 24-inch cross tube, get it replaced. I'll take it up on my shoulders to get the paperwork figured out, but get the road opened up, get it going back to the public and that. So, you know, that we've knocked out a lot of the simple tubes that failed over the last recent storm. The 18-inch ones, we have those in stock, 24-inch, we have some 24-inch pipe in stock. It's the larger diameter ones. We do have to get eagle permits, and that's why I say, the drain commission, Andy, how many drains have you and I been out to look at for crossings?
Quite a few.
Yeah, we share the same consultant, so it's money well spent. So, we share the same consultant when it comes to the sizing and that kind of stuff. But some of these longer road closures is due to waning on getting our eagle permits, so we follow all the rules and regulations that they. Actually,
over 24-inch, you gotta get.
it all depends. No, you could have to get permission on an 18-inch. It all depends on if it's in wetlands or what we're dealing with. So it all depends. So.
All right, thank you, Doug.
When you start piling limestone, so I'm sure you just got a big.
As soon as you're ready for limestone, give your district foreman a call and they can get the limestone coordinated. So we're ready for limestone haul as soon as the townships are ready for it. So.
The reason I was late tonight is because I come up late to George Road and I got the railroad tracks. It was closed at the railroad tracks, no warning. So I go across Upper Mill Road because I'm gonna take, Lake Pleasant Road. You get there, that's closed, no warning anywhere. You gotta get right to the railroad tracks and you can't go anywhere. Are they required at all to have some signage before you get to those tracks?
So,
warning you?
We did not get any notification until the last minute on that. We contacted Central Dispatch, made sure Central knew about it. We also put it on our Facebook page to try to get the word out on Facebook. But that is the railroad that closed it for track maintenance, and they trump when it comes to hierarchy. They trump. So because it is a passenger rail too. So. But we did try to get the word out to everybody through Facebook, through our email notification that the roads were closed. It started with Lake Pleasant Road, and then, like you said, it went to Lake George Road too. So,
Yeah, so you just gotta go a long ways either way to get through, and there's just absolutely no warning that the roads are closed.
that is set up through the railroad.
But I think his point is, for the road commission, put signs up. I know you don't have any control over closing it, but signs, half a mile away at that intersection.
Yeah, we can get some advance notice, but it was yesterday. It was yesterday that they, it's like, hey, this road is closed. So we got right on with the railroad saying, hey, why didn't you give us the advance notice on this? And of course, they give you the great big spiel on that. So yeah, we can review it. If we need to get some more additional signs up, we can. But we tossed it on Facebook as soon as we found out about it. We put it on Facebook to let the residents know that it's closed.
All right, thanks, Doug.
It's got that website, it's Ride Mapper, RIDE Mapper. Ride Mapper? Yep. It has all the well logs on there, as long as if there's a record for it. There's a lot on there.
RIDE maps.
Yep, RIDE.
Was it Mapper?
Mapper, yep.
All right, let's move to the reports. Teresa, you got anything for the county clerk report?
Just to share that we're in the midterm elections. That means May, August, and November. For May, we have an outcoming school in the northern part of the county that's being picked up by Tuscola County jurisdiction. So that's going to save Burlington and Rich some money. Those clerks will still have to be in their office on election day and around that time to register anybody who wants to vote. But then we're heading into the August primary. We're getting ready for that. All the local clerks are getting ready for that. We have 2 judicial offices that are up for election, one in family court, circuit court, currently held by Judge Hodges, and he has refiled. And then the other opening is in district court. Judge Barnard is unable to run another term. She's aged out. So we currently have 2 candidates filed for that position. And this is not our biggest candidate election year because it's a midterm, but we do have a position on the road commission. 2 candidates filed for that. And then we have some partials in clerk in Burlington and trustee in Elba as far as candidates go. The proposal deadline for filing is May 12th. So we'll know the total kinds of proposals we'll be looking at. We already have a county proposal filed, which countywide for senior services.
several local proposals that may touch where you live, but until the deadline gets here, we might have more. And then, of course, we'll be in a minute getting ready for November too. So that's on elections, and then, of course, our office does many other things, CPLs for death, marriage, records, county commission material, and a lot of other things, as well as circuit court filings and so on and so forth.
All right, thank
I
you.
got a question
Oh,
first.
yes.
Because of the election, our clerk was saying we should plan some money in the budget for new machines, or?
Yes, that is a good idea for local jurisdictions to plan ahead. That's not on the immediate horizon, but it's coming in a few years. We're waiting to see what kind of funding we're gonna get from the state. Of course, that comes from the feds to the state, and then for distribution, but they are saying that local jurisdictions should be budgeting for future.
Should we worry about that this year or wait until next year?
We won't be replacing the equipment,
This year.
wholesale replacement this year at all. If a clerk needs to add something, maybe that would be something per jurisdiction, but it's gonna be a few years out, but it's gonna be expensive, so it's good to plan ahead.
All right, thanks. Dean, is there anything for the land bank?
No meeting.
Okay, the CCA report. Since our last MTA meeting, we have filled our vacant board seat vacated by Ron Siski on the CCA board. We filled that with Steve Kalfleisch. He is the supervisor of Goodland Township. Goodland Township is a owning member of CCA, and Steve will fill that seat until the annual meeting. Then there will be an election to, if anybody else wanted to run for that seat, that they could.
That's in June, right?
Yes, it would be at our June, the third Wednesday of June. We have approved a parking lot project at CCA in the back parking lot. We're tearing it completely up and redoing it this spring or summer, whenever it fits into Creative Asphalt's schedule to work. Then we will be resealing and restriping the whole parking lot, the doctor's office all the way back. We also reappointed the Construction Code Board of Appeals members, head coach Bruce Johnson, Randy Opperman, and Greg Dennis to new 5-year terms. And with the weather warming up, the permits are coming in and work starting. So that's the CCA report. TNU.
TNU's next tentative meeting is the 29th of May. However, I did get an email that apparently there's a conflict with the Lapeer County Chiefs of Police. Their meeting is also on the 29th, so it may get fluctuating.
We need a good address for them. We sent a check to them and it went up to Carol, but it came back.
Joe from Supervisor, send it to me and I will get it to them.
Make it up to cash.
Yeah, you don't need to make it out to cash in this one. You can go ahead and make it out to I'll take care of getting it to them if you want.
Then get them a good address for future reference.
Yes. I am planning on having Brian Savard is our current director. I plan on having him come to a MTA meeting just as a update on and so forth. So,
All right. Andy, anything on the Drain Commission?
Few things. We got a lot going on in the county, a lot of maintenance stuff. There's some bigger projects. There's only so much funding to go around. I mean, I've sat in a lot of rooms with everybody and kind of hashed these projects out and trying to involve as many people as I can so everybody has good communication on this stuff. Like Dustin said, we are working good together. The county press has a nice article, if you guys haven't seen it. It kind of talks about all that stuff. Like Jim was bringing up the ticks. I mean, they love the swampy ground. And if we don't keep our drains flowing, the tick level's gonna keep going up. I was at a resident's house, had some flooding, the water almost came up over the wall. That's another thing we have to worry about, because it contaminates the walls, things like that. We are open Monday through Friday. If you We are working on different grants and stuff for different projects, it just, there's not a lot of money for drainage, people don't really worry about it too much.
Did you find out about the one for the River right there in 24?
So Lisa McLean, we're not getting it through there, but Melissa Stockton, there's a chance. So we're waiting, we got the next step to Washington, so we're waiting to hear back on that, fingers crossed we get something. We did have a sinkhole on that drain. We got it, fixed it before we lost the car in the driveway. I didn't really want to put money into a drain that's failing, but it's probably a year out before we get to break the ground. There's still a lot. We do have a public meeting coming up for that next month, just to kind of bring everybody in, get MDOT involved more. We're trying to push for MDOT to pay for the majority of that project. We do have all of our maps on Fetch on the county's website, so it's nice. Everybody can kind of go on there and see where the county drains are. It's not 100%. We're still tweaking some things. We found some issues here and there, some drains that weren't mapped correctly and stuff like that. So it is getting tweaked, but we are working on it, stuff like that. And I'm trying not to kick the can down the road with a lot of these projects and stuff like that, and who's what. And we're working with the health department. We're sharing an inspector now, so if that works out, we know what the health department's doing. They know what we're doing. Different projects, same thing with the road commission. We're all trying to work together, you know, as a whole. But I mean, to fix the damn roads, we got to make sure drains or dams and our drains are working right and all that. So that's about it. I mean, if you guys have any questions or
Update on the street project?
well, I got my EAP, emergency action plan. We had a meeting about that, brought everybody in, state, local officials and stuff like that. We kind of did a rundown if the dam fails, what everybody's tasks are and stuff like that. We had a pretty good turnout for that last week. But we are waiting on some engineer reports and stuff like that. We got a meeting coming up in June.
Or the dredging on the street?
Yeah. More than I mean, I don't know, just, we're trying to keep costs down and stuff like that, because it is a big district, it will be costly, but, I mean, every drain constantly is water flowing, constantly needs maintenance. And I've learned real fast that there's no line item in your taxes for stormwater.
Yeah.
You know, and then by the time we get to it, the complaints come in, we try to fix the problem, it's a big problem. I would still like to get a crew back so we can get some of these small problems fixed before they become big problems. It just, I mean, even with the inspector, I mean, we go out, we clean logs, push things, I mean, we're doing what we can, it just, I only have so much help and everything is hired out, so it's just tough. The contractors that we do use, I mean, they're booked out till next year.
Is there any timeline when we're gonna get the engineering back for the upgrade project?
It'll be in June,
In June?
in the next meeting, they're gonna bring a report and over the next meeting. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
EMS, Tina?
Everything's going well. The director, Russ, has, I don't know if any of you have seen it, or your fire departments, police departments, but he's got AEDs from Zoll, which is the same ones that they use. They're available to purchase for $1,500, which is a substantial savings. So if any of your people need them, let him know. I think it's by the 1st of May or
Order the week of the 11th.
Pardon?
He's placed the order the week of the 11th.
The 11th, okay. So if anyone needs them, or like we have one at our hall now, stuff like that.
Is that for anybody, like nonprofits and stuff like that? The machine?
Probably, you could call them.
Okay.
And we were gonna pay $2,200 a piece for them, and I talked to Russ, and now they're 15. So
He had to buy 25.
he had to buy 25, so we're getting 3 of them.
And that was actually listed $3,009, kind of weird thing why they threw $9 on there, I have no idea, but, you know, so they had their price there of $2,400, but then by doing this matching of it, minimum of 25, all going to one location, brought it down to 1,500. Tremendous. And one of the bigger things, if you have the old ones, batteries to replace those in the old life pack, which was the old standard with EMS, like $258 a piece. And the new Zolls take a standard camera battery that, you know, go to Meyer and get, and it's a no-brainer for Daxel.
A couple of years back, EMS was giving those machines out, 1 or 2 a year. Are they still doing that, or?
I don't think so.
No, okay. Cause we got one for the church in the city, and then there was another place in the city, but I haven't heard anything. They were trying to do it every year.
All right. Let's, move back to public time. I'll just say, hey, I've enjoyed being the chairman. I'm gonna keep enjoying the meetings from the audience, but, I appreciate, the time. Anybody else?
Thanks for your service.
Meeting adjourned.
Don't be in touch. I think, about that, and then I want to share with you and Mike as soon as possible. Thank you.
I don't want to touch your brain.
No, you're a supervisor.